1,973 clues have come and gone, but 26 new ones are headed your way as part of this 74th episode of Disney 100 Jeopardy! Welcome in. As always, I am your host, Brian Perry, and thank you so much for joining me. Also, happy 4th of July. I got this episode out a day early. This way you can celebrate Independence Day by showcasing all of the useless Disney trivia you have lodged in your brain. And with that, I give you the rules on your screen. They're the same rules as always. So if you want to cheat, I'll look the other way. Actually, I won't have to because this is a YouTube video and I won't know you're doing so. So by all means, be my guest. In last week's episode 73, the final Jeopardy category was fireworks. I, of course, did that in honor of the 4th of July, and I also added two other 4th of July-esque categories to this game, plus two other just regular old Disney categories. So with that, let's check them out and taking a look at what you'll be playing in episode 74. Once again, fireworks will kick off this 4th of July inspired episode. And the second category you'll be playing, Who's Missing? Shout out to viewer Jennifer Moss in the comment section who helped come up with this category. Essentially, I am going to show you an iconic group of Disney characters. Could be a trio, could be more, and then I'm going to remove one of the characters from that group, and you'll have to tell me who is missing. It's that simple. The third category you'll be playing, Presidents at Disney. Shout out to my friend Nick from the Rangers, Let's Go Rangers, who helped me come up with this category. This is all about presidents who have made a pit stop at either the happiest place on Earth or the most magical place on Earth, Disneyland or Walt Disney World. The fourth category is your theme park category of the week, non-park rides. Yes, you can go to a Disney resort and take a ride on something that is not included in your theme park admission. So this is all about different, I guess you could say they're attractions or rides that you can take before you even enter one Disney park. And the fifth and final category you'll be playing is your last 4th of July category, America. That's right, this covers a wide spectrum of things within the Walt Disney Company. Could be movies, could be food items, could be theme parks, could be TV shows. Just every answer will line up with the United States of America. And with that, it is now time for the easiest round of the game, the Cupcake Round. Each of these clues are worth just 200 points each. Hopefully you go 5 for 5 and bank 1,000 points under your belt. With that, let's get this game started by looking at the board and kicking things off with fireworks for 2. The end of this film sees the movie's two main characters fly through the air after lighting a firework attached to them. What is Toy Story?
This is the part where we blow up! Not today!
On to Who's Missing for 200. Ah, yes, the three caballeros. We've got Panchito, we've got Jose, and someone's missing. Who is it? Who else but the number one duck not named Gordon Bombay? It is Donald. On to your first clue from the presidents category. This president gave his "I'm not a crook" speech at the Contemporary Resort. As far as I know, there's only one president in history. I could be wrong here, but I'm fairly confident. There's only one president in history who uttered the words "I'm not a crook" in a press conference. That, of course, was Richard Nixon.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
It's always weird to think about historical moments that occurred on Disney property that have absolutely nothing to do with Disney. Things like the Nixon speech or LeBron James winning an NBA championship in front of nobody, the Beatles breaking up at the Polynesian. Look it up. It's true. All these things happen on Walt Disney World property and, like I said, have absolutely nothing to do with the most magical place on Earth. We move on to the first clue from the non-park ride category. Opened in 2019, the Disney Skyliner connects multiple resorts with these two Walt Disney World theme parks. What are Hollywood Studios and Epcot? And Disneyland fans, I do apologize for not including more Disneyland clues. I'll attempt to do that more so in the near future. I will say, being a Walt Disney World cast member for a long time definitely influences my decision making when coming up with clues. Plus the fact that Walt Disney World gets, I don't know how much more attendance. Probably a significantly larger amount of people coming every year. But I do have a soft spot in my heart for Disneyland. Disneyland's better than the Magic Kingdom, by the way. Anyway, let's move on to the final clue of the Cupcake Round. It's your last chance to score an easy 200. It's all about America. Originally just a kid from Brooklyn, Steve Rogers went on to become this superhero. Who is Captain America?
So where is the little guy from?
Actually, Brooklyn.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens.
Brooklyn.
That'll do it for the Cupcake Round. Still 21 clues to go in this week's game, but next week is the huge 75th episode of Disney 100 Jeopardy. We'll have our 2000th clue in the game, plus some surprises in store. I'll also be giving away one of our hottest selling t-shirts to a lucky viewer, and on top of that, I'll be telling all of you how you can be a part of the Disney 100 Jeopardy future with opportunities to get more involved like never before. And I mean really a part of the show. Be sure to join me next Friday, July the 12th for the 75th episode. Can't believe we're there. Well, not yet. Still got 21 clues to go in this game. So let's get back to the board. It's going to get a little tougher as it begins with fireworks. In the summer of 1961, Tinkerbell first flew from this location to signal the start of the fireworks at Disneyland. If you haven't been to Disneyland, you might not know that Sleeping Beauty Castle is about this big. Yep, it's really, really small compared to Cinderella Castle. So small that Tinkerbell couldn't really fly out of it. No, instead, she descended from the Matterhorn. Yep, and there she is after having descended from the Matterhorn, flying behind Sleeping Beauty Castle. And check out this video. This is awesome. This is what it looks like to be Tinkerbell during the day flying through the air. Not sure what that wire or cable is at the top of the screen. I don't know what that is because obviously Tinkerbell uses her wings to fly during the fireworks show. But thought this video was a cool vantage point of what she might see as you look up at her from Main Street. On to who's missing now for 400 points. It's the original Avengers. Can you name who's missing? Who is Thor? It's time to salute. We're back to presidents for 400. Years before becoming president, this actor served as one of the MCs for Disneyland's opening day television special. Who is Ronald Reagan?
Ronnie Reagan, come on in. Isn't this a riot today?
Oh, it certainly is.
And Ron, your first job is down here in the town square.
Right out here in front of the depot, yes, for the main street and the parade and so.
I don't know why I geek out over that footage so much. I think it's just so cool that Reagan obviously was a popular celebrity before becoming president, but he's the one who introduced Walt to the microphone before the famous Disneyland speech. So pretty cool, fun fact. We move on to non-park rides for the second time. While Walt Disney World's monorail stops at a station while traveling through the contemporary resort, Disneyland's monorail travels through this hotel without making a stop. There you go, Disneyland fans. I threw you a bone. The correct answer is the Grand Californian. I love the Grand Californian. Very Wilderness Lodge-esque. This footage shows the monorail going through the courtyard, but it does go through the actual structure of the building twice on each side of the courtyard. The Grand Californian opened with California Adventure in 2001. Here comes your final clue of the 400-point round. It belongs to America. Some might say he's the most patriotic Muppet of all. Who dat? That is Sam Eagle.
And the home of the brave.
Happy birthday, America! Disney should replace Tinkerbell or whoever's flying right now at Disneyland with Sam Eagle for the 4th of July fireworks show. How funny would that be? You just hear an eagle screech and then you see Sam Eagle flying behind the castle. You just do it once per year. All right, speaking of fireworks, it's time to go back to the firework category. It's the 600-point round, and it begins with this very clue. The reason fireworks are being set off at the beginning of The Little Mermaid. Correct answer is, it's Prince Eric's birthday. Also, Prince Eric, very ungrateful. Look, I'll be honest. If someone made a statue of me like that and gave it to me for my birthday, my reaction wouldn't be, it'd be like, should I give him a hug, a kiss? I don't know. That's pretty nice. That's a nice gift. Maybe you don't want it, but you gotta at least put on a face. Negative points for Prince Eric there. Here comes Who's Missing for 600. Snow White and the 6 dwarfs are spotted in this photo. You got 5 seconds to name who's missing. The correct answer is Bashful. Here comes your third presidential clue of the game. While serving as vice president, Richard Nixon, it's another Nixon clue, and his family were welcomed as the first guests aboard this new Disneyland attraction when it opened in 1959. Richard Nixon and his family were Walt's personal guests and the first ones to ride the monorail.
To open the first operating monorail system in America, it is our good fortune to have our friend and fellow Californian, the Vice President of the United States, Mr. Richard Nixon, our Vice President.
Well, thank you very much, Walt.
Look at those old school monorail trains. Those things are awesome. They should go back to those. And those actually took inspiration from an older Disneyland attraction, the Viewliner train, which would connect guests from Tomorrowland to Fantasyland. Look how cool that thing is. That only lasted about a year until the monorail came in 59. I think they closed the train in 58. Speaking of attractions, it's time to move on to your third clue from the non-park ride category. We're back to monorails again. The number of different Walt Disney World monorail stations. This does not include the shed that the monorail sleeps in. The correct answer is 6. As we put up a map, you add TTC in the middle. You've got the Magic Kingdom Loop, which includes TTC, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, Magic Kingdom, and Contemporary. That's 5. And then, of course, you add Epcot, with the Epcot beam making 6. Here comes your final clue of the 600-point round. It belongs to America. This longtime Disney parade featured a lengthy American flag as its finale float. What is the electrical parade? The electrical parade actually got rid of the flag float in 2022 when Disneyland brought back Main Street Electrical Parade for the, what was it? I think it was the 497th time. Could have been 98th, not sure. They replaced it with a nice float with some characters on it, but I don't know. I'm old school. I like the USA float, personally. We move on to the 800-point round, as this is where things get pretty tough. Here comes fireworks to kick it off. The full name of the Illuminations fireworks show that ran at Epcot from 1999 to 2019. It was a dark day when the final iteration of Illuminations closed in 2019. That version was Illuminations Reflections of Earth. On to Who's Missing? Great. Ooh, I see 2 fairies on the screen, but normally there are 3. Who's missing? Well, on the screen you've got Fauna and Merryweather, meaning that you're missing Flora. Fourth presidential clue goes a little something like this. In 1957, President Truman refused to ride this attraction on his visit to Disneyland. Forget presidents, this is one of the funniest fun facts in Disney history. Back in 57, when Truman visited, he went on a few rides, as you can see right here. And at one point, Disney said, hey, why don't you hop on Dumbo? Take that for a spin. And he looked at Dumbo, the flying elephant, which of course is the symbol for the Republican Party. Truman was a Democrat, and he said, no, I don't want to be associated with an elephant. So he refused to ride Dumbo. Here comes non-park rides now for 800 points. Before changing its name to Aerophile, the balloon attraction at Disney Springs was known as this. What is Characters in Flight? You've got one clue left before the 1,000 pointers. It's America for 8. This 20th Century Fox film was 1996's #1 movie at the box office. What other movie would I be asking about today besides Independence Day?
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Like I said in the clue, 20th Century Fox produced Independence Day, and then 20th Century Fox was acquired by the Walt Disney Company. So technically, it's now a Disney movie, I guess you could say. All right, 20 clues down, 6 remain, but before we get to Final Jeopardy, you know what time it is. It is time for the most overly dramatic soundtrack infused, unnecessarily fireworked part of the game. The 1,000 point round. Hit it. Have to be patriotic on this 4th of July episode as we take a look at the first 1,000 point clue. It belongs to fireworks. Ooh, I've split the clue in 3. You can catch a snippet of 3 different fireworks scenes in classic Disney movies. Name the 3 Disney films. On the left, you have Sleeping Beauty. In the middle, it is Beauty and the Beast. And on the right, it is Aladdin. It's time for your final clue from the Who's Missing category. It is the Big Hero 6 gang, except they're the Big Hero 5 because this character is missing. Who is Wasabi? Let's learn about the presidents one more time. This one's worth 1,000. This former president is credited with experiencing the first running tour of Disneyland when he took an early morning jog through the empty park in 1982. Who is Jimmy Carter? There are a ton of other presidential fun facts having to do with visiting Disney that I wanted to include, but there are only 5 clues obviously in the category. Things like JFK visiting back before he was president in the late 50s, Reagan having to move a parade because of weather from Washington, D.C. to Epcot. Yeah, there's a ton of history there, so be sure to look it up if that's what you're into. All right, 2 clues left on the board. The first one belongs to non-park rides. Look at those windows. Seen here is the MTR Disney train, connecting tourists and residents to this Disney resort. That train brings you to the valley in which Hong Kong Disneyland is situated in. Appropriately so, the final clue on the board belongs to America. In Oliver and Company, Dodger and Oliver meet and proceed to team up to steal these from a man on the street. Even though American hero Joey Chestnut did not compete in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest this 4th of July, I had to include hot dogs as one of the answers. That's what it is, Frank's. They stole a bunch of hot dogs.
Beef kosher Franks and hightail it out of here.
I also put team up in quotes because Dodger was taking advantage of little Oliver. He was using his street smarts to get Oliver to help him steal the hot dogs, and then he tried to run off and not share any of them. Not very nice. Not very nice of the canine. All right, 25 clues down, 1 remains, but it happens to be the one clue of the game that will ultimately determine how proud of yourself you will be this 4th of July weekend. Let's take a look at what Final Jeopardy is all about. Patriotic attractions. Now, I'll tell you now, just to help you out, I'm not going to ask you to name a patriotic attraction that I described. No, instead, I might give you the name of a patriotic attraction and then ask you a question about that ride / attraction. It might be a little tougher than you expected. With that knowledge, make your wagers. All right, time's up. Now, I'll tell you now, there are a handful, not that many, but a handful of patriotic attractions within Disney parks. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln. You had the old Muppet Show, but perhaps none more famous than the Hall of Presidents, which is what your Final Jeopardy clue is about as we take a look at it. Here it is. This was the first president to record lines specifically for the Hall of Presidents at the Magic Kingdom. Good luck. The correct answer brings us all the way back to the early 90s. That's when WDI visited the White House to have Bill Clinton record lines for the famous show.
The spirit of America is as bright and hopeful today as it was in July of 1776. And we are ready to carry our great national experiment forward into the next millennium.
And that does it for episode 74 of Disney 100 Jeopardy. But remember, episode 75 next Friday, July 12th, is huge. That's because I'm giving away a t-shirt and I'm telling you how you all can get involved in the future of Disney 100 Jeopardy, so be sure to join me then. But for now, you know the deal. If you like what you saw, do me a favor, subscribe, click that bell icon. Hello, bell. This way, you're notified every time we come out with brand new content. I've been your host, Brian Perry. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Happy 4th of July weekend, and I will see you in a week. Till then.
Bye-bye.